Shannon, should Rivera have benched Cam?
Hell no. What did he stand the game by benching him? You stood to lose more than you could ever possibly gain. Every coach that I played for, and I played for a bunch of them, the first thing they tell us the first time they gather us up, he says, guys, I'm going to treat all of you fair, but I'm not going to treat you all the same. Jimmy Johnson told a story how a guy was sleeping in the locker in a meeting, and he cut him. And the reporter asked him, said, what if that had been Troy Aikman? He said, I'd have woke his ass up. You see, you treat them all fair, but you don't treat them all the same. Okay, if you want to bench Cam for a series, Derek Anderson better not throw a pass. See, this is what really Richard Sherman was talking about as far as karma. This is karma here. But you know what this goes to show me, Skip? It's like when you lose, everything is a reason why you're losing. I bet you any amount of money, had they had this record this year like they had last year, and Cam wore that exact same outfit, what do you want to bet, Skip, he wouldn't did what he did?
You probably are right. I don't know that for a fact.
I've been in too many situations. It's like when you lose a game, we lost the game because my chin strap wasn't buckled in practice. We lost the game because I was on one knee kneeling on my helmet. See, it's all these reasons, which are really not the reason why we're losing. We're not playing particularly well. Maybe maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. Maybe it was expectations. Because when you go 15-1, nobody's expecting you to finish last in your division. I can assure you that. So now you have the expectations of finishing 15-1, being in the Super Bowl, having the reigning MVP. So expectations from here on out is for you to win the division, you to be a serious contender in the NFC moving forward. Somebody think we're at the disco. They doing all these trip lights going on here.
I think they just didn't like your argument. They wanted to just shut you down.
Skip, this is not a great look for Cam. Cam obviously knows the rules, and he said, look. Yep. But you have to also factor in, Skip, they played the Raiders last week. So football players are not used to packing for 7, 8, 10 days. Basketball players, baseball players, they go on road trips that might last a week. Some baseball teams go on road trips that might last 2 weeks. So they're accustomed to packing for an extended period of time. I'm not trying to make excuses for Cam. I kind of like the look myself. I'm really not a mock turtleneck type of a guy. But, hey, that looks great on Cam. Eddie McCaffrey wore the same jacket for 7 years. He wear it on the plane. He fold it up, put it in his bag. He get off the plane. He take it out. He take it out of his bag, put it back on. That was Eddie's look. We know what Eddie was going to do. This is ridiculous. I mean, he made this. He could have, look, Cam, you know you're supposed to wear a tie. I'm going to fine you $1,500, $2,500, and we're going to move forward. But this was unacceptable because he made it an issue that it really didn't need to be made.
When you played for Denver, did you have a tie rule?
We had a sport coat rule.
Okay.
As long as you wore a sport coat, you didn't have to wear a tie.
Even Dan Reeves did he have a tie rule?
Yeah, I think it was always a sport coat. I can't remember, but Dan was always suited and booted. I mean, he was one of the
But he's a Tom Landry protege.
Right. Yeah. So and he dressed in shirt and tie on the sideline. So you could expect what he was going to be dressed like getting on the plane. And I couldn't imagine getting on the plane wearing a sweatsuit or maybe issued equipment from the Broncos, and here my head coaches have tied nice slacks, a jacket, and some hard bottoms on.
Yeah, I think that Ron Rivera being a Ditka product, Ditka was a Landry product. I think it sort of filtered down because Coach Landry always insisted on sport coat and tie or suit and tie, whatever you wanted to choose on the plane, on the road.
Right.
And I rode on many of those charters, some of Jimmy's charters, and it was a little different with Jimmy. He was much looser, especially on the return trip. He didn't require the tie, as I recall. It seemed like everybody was pretty casual. So the point is, this is the one rule, the one minor rule that can have major impact on the team because 52 other guys are going to sit in a confined space, and it's going to be glaring that the franchise quarterback opted not to wear a tie on this flight. So everybody's going to be able to see. It's not like you missed, you were 5 minutes late to the quarterback meeting and only those 3 quarterbacks knew that, or the coach and the 3, right? So it puts Rivera in a tough spot when the leader of the team shows up in a turtleneck. And yet to your point, they were in California and they shipped some of their clothes, their extra clothes back. Now, I don't know if just Cam did it or everybody shipped their clothes back, but I'm with Rivera on this. I know it's dramatic, but if you have a tie rule on the road, and nobody, I don't wear a tie, right?
Yeah.
So I don't like to wear a tie. I started back on a show, Cold Pizza, in 2004, not wearing a tie from day one. And I'm happy I don't, because it's just hard to tie it, it's hard to cinch it, it's hard to match it. It requires some work.
It does.
But I do like the look of the football team getting on the plane on Saturday because it feels like they're on a business trip when they're suited up.
Yes.
And I think I know Jason Garrett feels like it creates the mentality of we are all business going on the road to take care of business, and then we'll come home and we can take a day off on Tuesday, but we're not going to take a day off going on the road on Saturday night, right?
I totally agree.
Right.
Because when I was in college, my coach, Coach Bill Davis, rest his soul, he had that rule that we had to wear shirt and tie. And a lot of guys, we come from backgrounds, we didn't have a whole.
I got it.
I'm like, look, guys, you're not going to get on the bus, because we weren't taking plane, we were taking bus, with no clip on.
Yep.
And you're not, look, come by the room. All Friday, Skip, I spent 20, 30 minutes tying guys' ties. So I get it, but this is if they're 9-0, they're 10-1.
Maybe.
We're not having this discussion, Skip, because I know coaches. I've seen this be it Mike Shanahan, we were 13-0, and then all of a sudden the least little thing was the reason why we lost.
Okay.